What would you do if they brought the power grid down? And by they, I mean if the government purposefully brought the power grid down. And I'm not asking that question for fun. I'm asking that question because the World Economic Forum is predicting that a cyber pandemic, you can look this up, they've been running exercises about it this year, is inevitable. You're probably saying, what is a cyber pandemic? It doesn't make any sense. Like, what are we even talking about? We have to sanitize the internet. They've been meeting and talking about the cyber pandemic and what it would look like. Essentially, their idea is that they're going to have to sanitize the internet because a bug, think of it as like a coronavirus for your computer, is going to sweep globally, and the only way they're going to be able to stop this bug from infecting everything is to effectively shut down the internet, right? And they were talking about bringing down the power grid in an effort to do this. So imagine the government bringing down the power grid, and you would not have access to anything that required an electrical charge.
Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha, Kadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing salutations, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Barakatham, to all the sincere believers, the sincere Akim and Akwath, keeping the faith and diligence of our Lord Yahweh Shai, occupying in the prophecies until all is fulfilled, and Lord will, we are redeemed. So back with another news and prophecy in this opening clip with Candace Owens, of course, going into this coming, cyber grid blackout. All right, that's the forecast right now. Everybody's talking about it. You're having a lot of strange things regarding the internet go on right now. You're seeing many grid outages in many different nations across the earth. And, as she said in this video right here, they've been testing these things. All right. And they've been testing it they've really been testing it heavily since 2020. Remember last year you had a Microsoft outage at the airports and businesses and things like that, to where, a lot of software couldn't be used. All right. You had cyber attacks on pharmacies, on banks, things of that nature, on T-Mobile. All right. So we know that there's a great reset, a hard reset of the grid that's coming, that's going to wipe everything out. And when you look at the climate, when you check the temperature of the world right now, you see that it's being set up for just that to happen. Banks are acting weird. These businesses are closing down. The stock market is crashing. The worth of the dollar is pretty much non-existent. So they're ready to do away with this system. All right. And as it is written, the fashion of this world passeth away. All right. So this is for us to look at the signs of the times and know that we're in some very dangerous, crucial times right now. And this is for us to get ourselves right, to continue on the path, the narrow path that leads to righteousness, man. Abstain from the ways of this world, because this place is about to be in utter chaos. And if you don't got the Lord with you in this time, then you're going to lose. And that's really the bottom line of it. All right. Now, pursuant to what she's speaking about, because she said that this is coming down from the W to the E to the F. All right. Your boy, Klaus Schwab, all right, he made this declaration at the very beginning of the pandemic. I believe this is July 8th, 2020. All right, so a little under 5 years ago, this was forecasted. All right, now you have these things that are starting to become more prominent within the news and within private talking circles. All right, so let's check this out.
To a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack. To use the COVID-19 crisis as a timely opportunity to reflect on the lessons the cybersecurity community can draw and improve our preparedness for a potential cyber pandemic.
So there you hear it from the horse's mouth. Okay, and he's not the only one that has openly declared this. All right, many other cabinets, Salakia, many other members within the WEF cabinet have also forecasted this as well. And there's a show on Netflix right now titled 0 Day. And when you watch that series, it shows you exactly that, where the banks were shut down, people couldn't get no money, there's civil unrest in the streets, there's protests going on, people are breaking up in the stores, stealing, just trying to get their hands on whatever goods that they can, because society has collapsed. All right. And once again, when you check the temperature of the world, especially America right now, something big is coming and everybody knows it. All right. If you pay attention to these, financial channels, right, then that this thing is we don't know exactly when, but we know that it's going to happen soon because of the way everything is going. All right. You can just look at the stock market and see that the elites, the small head bankers, they're about to pull the plug on the system, man. And from a cyber attack, what's going to happen? All right, you're going to have anarchy out here, man, because you have to think about it. When a cyber attack and a grid outage happens in a society, that's an unexpected event. Okay, people by and large are not aware, they're not prepared for anything like that. So when it happens, people are going to become very impulsive. All right, they're going to become beasts pretty much. They're not going to think rationally. People are going to be desperate, and they're going to do what they have to do to survive. Okay. Now, when you go to the book of 2nd Ezra, let's go to 2nd Ezra, the 5th chapter. All right. 2nd Ezra chapter 5, because this is exactly what is about to happen on this earth, especially in America, Babylon the Great. 2nd Ezra chapter 5 and verse 1. Nevertheless, as coming the tokens, all right, which the tokens refer to the prophecies, okay, the things that were spoken of aforetime to come to pass in these last days, all right, that have been revealed by the prophets in these last days. These are the things that are about to come forth, okay, the tokens. Behold, the days shall come that they which dwell upon earth shall be taken in a great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. All right, now, like I mentioned, when you have an unexpected sudden event such as a cyber attack, a grid outage, you see, people are not prepared for that, you see, by and large. So what's going to happen? Are people going to seek Yahweh Bashmi Yahushai in that time? Are people going to be, relying on their faith? No, because these people have no faith. All right. These people's faith is in this world and of this world. See, as long as they can see food, as long as they can put gas in their car, as long as they have employment and they can have some money in their pocket, go out and have a good time, that's where their faith is at. See, but their faith is not geared towards being upright in the worst case scenario. Okay, that's why it says in this verse here, the land shall be barren of faith. All right. And even Yahweh Shah said that when he returns, shall he find faith on the earth? And the answer is really no. All right. Outside of the elect, there is going to be nobody that has faith. OK, because Yahweh Shah even said that you don't even need that much faith, man. You just need the faith of a mustard seed. And a mustard seed is a very, very small seed, man. OK, so you don't even need to have the faith of a mountain, okay, to be able to overcome. You just need a little small amount of faith. And most people don't even have that. So when they lose everything, when they lose all their savings, okay, when they lose their, access to their money, what you think gonna happen? They gonna crash out. All right. It ain't gonna be no police to keep things in order. Okay. It's gonna be dog eat dog out here. See? And this is why having the Lord with you in this time is so important, because, those of us that are in the know, those of us that are in the good graces of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay, the Lord is going to keep a hedge of protection around us in that time. Now, is there going to be an element of fear? Yeah, of course, because we're in the flesh. All right, seeing certain things is going to be like, damn, you know. But at the same time, is you know, we've been preparing ourselves in the spirit to deal with these things, you see. And of course, we're going to call upon our power in that time. All right, so we know that we're going to be good. But being in the flesh, you know, certain emotions are going to overcome you. You know what I'm saying? You may you know, feel a way seeing certain things, but hey, at the end of the day, that's all a part of it, man. But the point is keeping your faith, having integrity in Yahweh Bashmil Shah to be able to endure. The scriptures say, he that endure to the end, the same shall be saved, man. So this ain't a thing where you just gonna be whisked away in a rapture, and you know, in the nick of time, and you ain't gonna have to go through nothing. No, you have to endure. All right, which we're currently enduring right now, because we live in a wicked society, we live in a wicked world. Evil is at an all-time high. These people are complete demons out here. All right, and each day that goes by, it gets worse and worse. Verse 2, but iniquity shall be increased above that which now thou seest, or that thou hast heard long ago. And the land which thou seest now to have root, shalt thou see suddenly wasted suddenly. Okay, so you know what I'm saying, we have insight into the scriptures, all right, to know what's going to come. Now when you go to the next chapter, okay, 2nd Ezra chapter 6, you know, and about, let me see here, 2nd Ezra 6, yeah, 2nd Ezra 6 and 23, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. Okay, so you know, this is what is about to occur. All right, men are about to become as women, okay, which really they already are. You know what I'm saying? There's no real men left in this society. Okay, what you have is a bunch of soy boys, you know, a bunch of degenerates. Okay, you know, as an old school term would go, sissies. You know what I'm saying? BANs. All right, that's all you got out here, man, for the most part. Okay, so when the trumpet gives a, you know, shall give a sound, okay, when these calamities are going to be seen, you know, when rumors are going to spread from the east to the west about this and that, okay, what, you know, every man shall be suddenly afraid. In verse 24, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. Okay, and in a time of a grid outage and a blackout, this is going to be at its greatest height, its greatest extent. Okay, because why? There's going to be a lack of resources. People not going to trust one another. All right, it tells you in 2nd Ezra the 15th chapter that what? That you know, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. Okay, but they're going to destroy their houses with the sword. And when you read up in this same chapter, it tells you that the sown places shall appear unsown, which means it's not going to be no food, it's not going to be no type of resources, man. So this is why, as you saw in 0 day, people are going to go to rioting and looting. Okay, and you know, once all the stores are stripped clean of the resources, right? Because the supply chain is also going to break down because of these famines and you know, trade is going to be cut off and things like that. All right, so once these stores are cleared out, the next thing people are going to do is they're going to start going house to house, you see, and they're going to start taking, all right, mainly these preppers, man, that you know, go on YouTube and they show all what they got. Like, yeah, you know, I got 3 years worth of, you know, canned beans, you know, I got canned tuna, you know what I'm saying, showing off all that shit that you got. Guess what? Somebody's watching. As a matter of fact, many people are watching what you got, man. All right, so you don't think when worst come to worst that people not going to find you, and that they not going to, you know, seek to overcome you and take what you got? Come on. Okay, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, in the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. All right, and when you go to Sirach 12, okay, because another thing as well, man, you know, people are about to see, you know, who's really with them and who ain't. All right, because as we'll go to in Sirach 12, a friend can't be known in prosperity. Okay, neither can an enemy be known in adversity. Sirach chapter 12 and verse 7, it says, "Give unto the good and help not the sinner." Verse 8, "A friend cannot be known in prosperity, and an enemy cannot be hidden in adversity. In the prosperity of a man, enemies will be grieved, but in his adversity, even a friend will depart." You see that? So these are the times that we're going into, man. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a time of betrayal. Okay, and the scriptures say that in the last days that many shall be offended and betray one another. You see that? So these are the causations that are going to lead to that effect. Okay, having a lack. Okay, people not being comfortable no more, man, because the people of this world, they live for comfort. All right, so when worse come to worse, and everybody's without, that's when you're gonna see people true colors come out, man. Okay, that's why it's really even good right now to limit your association with people, man, because the time is coming where as we just went through, it's gonna be a lot of betrayal. Okay, now municipalities in 4 states are struggling with cyber attacks limiting services. See this? So you can't make this up. And, all right, and these go into the tests that these devils are running, and this is just coming out today. All right, now we'll read some of this to get the point. It says cyber attacks on public entities across the U.S., from police stations to school districts and courts, are causing wide-ranging issues for thousands of residents and public employees. Kansas Atchison County said its offices are closed on Tuesday. Its offices, Salakia, are closed on Tuesday after it detected and responded to a cyber incident that impacted its computer network. And right now, as we speak, there's a ransomware software called Medusa. All right, which that goes into a Greek goddess, which she got snake for hair. Okay, which that really goes into the serpent worship, Satan. The queen of heaven, all of that. All of this stuff is witchcraft, man. But there's a ransomware, all right, that's called Medusa, that now they're saying that they can pretty much overload the system and just break through VPNs. All right, now if you don't know what a VPN is a virtual private network. Okay, so it's not on the main public web, but it's something more secure that you can, like if you have to do business, or if you're handling some top secret information, you would use a VPN, a secure network, to do that on, so it's not susceptible to cyber attacks. Okay, now they have something out there called Medusa, which can pretty much overload the system. I think it's called a brute force attack, where they can pretty much just break through that and still get through encryptions and take information, man. So you have a lot going on, and no doubt this is Esau, the elites at the West, that are putting these things out there, because it's very convenient time, and is it not? Here it is. We're already in March, about to enter into April already. Showing you that the Lord is shortening the days, man. Time is speeding up, but all these things are happening now at a heightened rate. Okay, showing you that they're getting ready for something. Okay, and here it is. You having all these cities across America struggling with cyber attacks, and the systems are going down. Okay, so this is a continued theme that we see. It says here, as soon as we learned this, we began working to investigate and determine the effects of the incident, county officials said on social media. Atchison County has more than 16,000 residents and is one of several municipalities to announce restrictions on services due to cyber attacks. Nearly 3 weeks after announcing a cyber attack had brought down its systems, Cleveland's municipal court still has not recovered, hampering dozens of trials that had been slated to begin in March. So even the legal system, the courts, are being held back because of cyber attacks, man. So this whole system, this whole society is about to go under. Okay? This is why, you have a lot of people right now in the private sector, all right, what's that business? Forever 21. They just filed for bankruptcy. They closing all their stores. So these businesses, these Fortune 500 companies, they're all pulling out of this economy, man. Okay, people are warning to what? Take your money out the banks because a stock market crash greater than 1929 is coming. And that's been the forecast for years now. Okay, like I remember, myself, brothers going into that years ago, man. But now is the time for these things to come forth. As it says in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, the vision is for an appointed time. This is the time now appointed for these prophecies to come forth in its full fruition. Okay, New England. Let's see here. 3 other U.S. municipalities are currently dealing with cyber attacks, including Stratford County and Pelham School District in New Hampshire, as well as Connecticut's Derby Police Department. Stafford County, home to 133,000 people, has been dealing with communication system outages for more than 3 days. God damn. Esau got a lot going on. Okay. So yeah, you get the point. That's pretty much the article right there. But these cyber attacks, man, these things are getting worse and worse. Now, check this out. Power outages reported in Rome. This coming out 3 hours ago today. All right. Cyber attacks in Rome. Check this out. Rome, New York. See? The city of Rome is currently experiencing widespread power outages as of 10:30 this morning. More than 3,300 National Grid customers were without power, including Freedom Plaza and City Hill, which is on the generator. And see, these are things that are not being reported on mainstream news, man. All right, you really have to find these articles. Okay. A spokesperson for National Grid said the cause is currently unknown, but they are dispatching crews to investigate and make repairs. When you go here as well, massive power outage plunges Panama into darkness following explosion at thermal electric power plant. Also this here, widespread power outage in Cuba leaves millions in dark. All right, now let's go to is that 15? Might be 15. Let me see. 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter. Because the Lord said that he would bring plagues upon the world, as he did Egypt before, right? 2nd Esdras 15. Yeah, verse 11. But I will bring them, speaking of the Israelites, the elect, with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Now we know modern day spiritual Egypt is referring to America, Babylon the Great. All right, because this is where the Israelites were taken into captivity. This is where we were oppressed as we were in ancient Egypt. Okay, so the same plagues that affected that land of ancient Egypt is coming back now today, and we see these things happening. And you're like, just look at the those crazy storms that were going on in the South and the Midwest. All right, you had hail pretty much falling like snow onto the ground, man. Baseball size hail. You had torrential flooding, you had tornadoes. You know what I'm saying? You even had earthquakes in a few areas. So we know that Esau, he has weather manipulation technology. But who gave him that technology? See, who gave Esau the wisdom on the left-hand side to create these weapons, man? It was Yahweh Bashmiel Shai. And ultimately Esau, as it says in Psalms, that the wicked is the Most High sword. Okay? So the Lord will use Esau to bring forth judgment to fulfill prophecy. All right? That's the understanding. Verse 12, it says, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that Yahweh Bashmiel Shah shall bring upon it. Okay, so matter of fact, that may be that may be 15, 16 Slakia. That was still good, but it was a worded very specifically in this chapter, I believe. Fire. Bear with me one moment. Salakia, is it? It might actually be 15 though. Salakia. Yeah. Verse. Yeah, Salakia, I'm tripping. Second Ezra 15. Verse 5, it says, Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction, for wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth. Right? Then when you go down, to verse 12, it says Egypt shall mourn. Right? And then when you go to Exodus, the 10th chapter, okay? Exodus, the 10th chapter. And Exodus 10 and 21. Exodus 10 and 21. Darkness over the land. Okay, so these cyber attacks, these grid outages, that's what's going to happen, man. A plague of darkness has affected ancient Egypt, as we'll read here, is about to come back in a major way. Okay, so darkness over the land, Exodus 10 and 21. And the Lord said unto Moses, Stretch out thine hand toward Egypt, toward heaven, Salakia, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. And Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days. But all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. Okay, and the elect in this time are going to have light in their dwellings as well, while the rest of the world is in darkness, man. Okay, Lord willing, we be of that precious number. Okay, but that darkness that was brought upon ancient Egypt, that was a plague. And this is why you're seeing these power outages, this darkness, okay, which Cuba last year, they also had a large grid outage as well, but they just had another one a few days ago. So these things are foretelling of what is about to envelop the whole of the earth. As you heard Candace Owens say, that they're going to have to shut down the grid in order to stop these quote unquote cyber attacks. Okay, so just know that this is coming, and hey, things about to get very, very bad out here, man. Okay, worse than what you've ever seen. Going here, farmers carry out plan to ditch traditional crops in favor of quote safe alternatives. You can no longer predict what happens, right? Traditional seasonal crops such as watermelons, tomatoes, and citrus fruits are on their way out. And of course, this goes into this global famine, which has been taking place for the past few years prominently. And there's about to be a severe shortage of food once these supply chains break down. We know even right here in America, the WEF is instituting policies to where farmers, they're pretty much being restricted from growing their crops. You know what I'm saying? They're having to, cull off millions of their livestock, kill how many chickens, you know what I'm saying? Kill off cattle and things like that because of what? Climate change. Okay. Natural life on the earth is producing too much gas, too much methane. It's harming the environment. All right. This is the narrative that's coming out the WEF. Okay. And even overseas, you're seeing the same thing happen, man. All right. But these are the plagues from Yahweh Bashmel Shai, because again, just as the Lord brought plagues upon ancient Egypt, okay, famine also occurred in ancient Egypt as well. Okay, the Lord destroyed their crops. All right, remember when the Lord brought the locusts in and they ate up all the crops. Okay, so there was a famine as well in ancient Egypt. Same thing is coming back today. So when you read here, in Turkey, increasing costs to grow crops in more volatile climate have led many fruit and vegetable growers to switch to safer alternatives. And this is biblical prophecy right here, man. And we'll get that in a minute. So what's happening? As Eurofruit explained, many farmers in Turkey have started growing wheat and corn instead of traditional seasonal crops such as watermelons, tomatoes, and citrus fruits, because wheat and corn are considered some of the cheapest foods to grow among the major crops. It's unsurprising that farmers have turned to them in difficult times. Now pay attention right here. Vegetables have also been affected by extreme weather and higher prices. Let's go into that extreme weather real quick and see what that's referring to. Extreme weather. Okay, it's not really. Let's see this real quick. Yeah, see that? Farmers in Romania. Okay, so look, this is happening all over the earth. Turkey, Western Asia, which they call Europe, Asia, America, definitely South America. You know what I'm saying? These things are all occurring. Okay, the price of potato seed has dramatically increased, doubling within the past few years, with Euronews reporting that agricultural labor has become more expensive and harder to find. Though Romania still has nearly a third of the EU's potato farms, in 2024, its potato production had hit an 8-year low. Extreme weather is also making it increasingly difficult for farmers in Romania to successfully grow potatoes. Okay, so extreme weather is a driving force behind why these crops are failing. Higher prices, with cabbages, cauliflower, broccoli, leeks, and spinach reaching record high levels throughout the winter. All right, now let's go here. Okay, 2nd Esdras 15. 2nd Esdras 15 and 12. It says, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that Yahweh Bashmel Shah shall bring upon it. Verse 13 is the point. They that till the ground shall mourn. Why they gonna mourn? For their seeds shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with a fearful constellation. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. You see that? So the farmers, they that till the ground shall mourn. Okay, that's why when you go to this article, all right, they're talking about implementing more stable crops such as corn and wheat, because they hold up better due to the extreme weather, man, due to the plagues that the Lord is bringing down. You see that? So call Halal Yahweh Bashmel Shah, man. Prophecy is unfolding right before our very eyes. And of course, this is going to lead to a worldwide famine. All right? Because with these wars going on, you think the supply chains are about to hold up too much longer, man? No. All right, because in a time of war, all right, production of food really slows down, because the main focus is going to be to put most of the civic work towards producing weapons. You know what I'm saying? Producing the war machine. Okay, so food. And of course, the economy is crashing as well. So people are losing jobs. They just deported millions of these migrants that they brought over the border. Okay, now you have farmers complaining that, look, we don't have anybody to pick these crops. You know what I'm saying? We don't have anyone to harvest the crops because they're all gone now. Okay, those that were willing to do the cheap labor and harvest these crops and to sow them, they're not around no more, man. All right. So if you're not aware of these things going on, that's why it says in 2nd Esdras 6 that suddenly shall the full storehouses be found empty. Also, these diseases that are going on, all these recalls that you've been having over the past 2-3 years, you know what I'm saying? Those things are still ramping up as well. Okay, so they're going to bring out new diseases and say, yeah, well, we're going to have to recall this, and that. You know what I'm saying? You have an egg shortage right now. So certain items are not as abundant as they used to be. There's a scarcity, and also the price of it is going up. All right, because eggs go into a lot of ingredients that staple foods use. So, if you have an egg shortage, then that's going to trickle down the whole supply chain, and things are going to get very bad out here. Okay, but the farmers are mourning, okay, because of the extreme weather, tornado, drought, flooding, okay, things like that is leading to crop failure. See, now let's go here.
We get to the news. Well, let's just take a second and breathe. Yesterday was insane. Breathe in. Okay. So, what happened while we slept? The United States attacked Yemen last night. 31 killed, 101 injured. Russia and Ukraine traded airstrikes last night as well. A North Macedonian fire killed 50 people. Trump signed the spending bill last night. 34 tornadoes happened in the United States overnight. Protests surrounding Tesla have been springing up around the country, and Donald Trump a few days ago did declare that any sort of violence against Tesla is seen as domestic terrorism. There was a huge power outage in Cuba last night, and a large media company's staff, Voice of America, they have been suspended from their jobs. And that's what happened while we slept. I'm gonna get to the news. Let's just...
So you have all these things going on. Okay, wow. As he said, people sleep. People are not aware, not paying attention. And you see the comments. The U.S. is an evil empire. Trump said that he would end all wars, but he's done nothing but start new ones. You see, and these people that voted for any of these devils, man, all right, they going to get exactly what they voted for. Okay? They going to get exactly what they put their approval out there for, man. All right, so you can't cry for these people, man, because these people were deceived. Okay, you had the men of the Lord warning. Okay, that look, no matter which way this election goes, the outcome is not going to be good. Trump is a damn demon. All right, this dude is an actor, man. He's been set up in office to bring forth the agenda of the elite bankers. Okay, that's what he's been set up to do. Elon Musk and BG and all them people that he got around him. Okay, they're working for the interests of their higher elites. They don't give a damn about you. Okay, they don't give a damn about your job. They don't give a damn about your quality of life. That's why they're destroying it. All right. So all he's doing is starting new wars. You know, bombing Yemen for blocking Izzy's ships. U.S. is the world's terrorist. You know what I'm saying? Now people are starting to wake up and smell the coffee. You know what I'm saying? See things for what it is. Calling on the Most High, Jesus. All right, which look, it ain't gonna be no Jesus that's gonna come and save you, man. Okay, Jesus is a false idol. Okay, it ain't gonna be no surfer, white boy that's gonna come out the sky and save you from your calamity, man. That's a delusion. Okay, that's a strong delusion right there, and that just goes to show you that these people are through. All right, because when hell comes on this earth, they're going to call on their God. Okay, they're going to call on JC, and they ain't going to get no answer. So that's why, as we read in 2nd Ezra chapter 5, it says the land shall be barren of faith, because people are going to lose their faith in whatever they believe in, because they're going to realize that it was not able to help them. It was not able to save them. Okay, but we, okay, that call on the names of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, okay, we know that we have power in that name. In those names, okay, we know that your salvation is going to come as long as we believe. Okay, these people, they have no faith, they have no hope. This man is making every previous president look super amazing and safe. He is see, you can't make this up. All right, so you even have a sentiment among people now that are saying that Trump is worse than Biden. That's basically what she's saying. You know, you say this man is making every previous president look super amazing. So Obama, he was, so even though he was a demon, Biden was definitely a damn demon. All right, George Bush, Bill Clinton. See, all these presidents were demons, man. All right, but what Trump is doing now, people are like, God damn, this dude Trump is coming in like he's putting all of them to shame, and that's good for us because that means we about to get out of here. All right. Bro, I hate being a part of the evil empire. I'm sorry. This sucks. I need dual citizenship. All while our media is censored. So check it out. You know, people ready to get out of America, man, because people see where it's going and it ain't looking good. Okay, wars overseas. Now they talking about conscription. They talking about drafts. You know, they talking about all kind of stuff. You see? So when you go here, right? Israel prepared for any scenario, okay, which when they say they're prepared for any scenario, that means that they're prepared for war. Okay, that's really what they're saying. As conflicts intensify in Gaza and Yemen. All right, now you had Trump make a declaration maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago that said if the Houthis don't release the hostages, that all hell will break loose within the Middle East. And last night, I believe they did a drone strike on Gaza, which killed about 140 people, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so this call for peace in the so-called Middle East, it's not going to happen. Okay, and if you understand biblical prophecy, then you already know that, right? If you've been listening to the man of the Lord, you know that peace is not a reality. Okay, the war must come to the forefront before World War III is biblical prophecy, man. Okay, and the scriptures say that when they shall say peace and safety, then shall sudden destruction come. So Trump, he was like, I'm going to end these wars, I'm going to bring peace, right? But what's happening? Sudden destruction. War is continuing to rage on in these foreign nations and soon to come to America. Believe that. All right. An Israeli security official has expressed the nation's readiness to engage militarily on multiple fronts after a series of escalations in the Gaza Strip in Yemen, two theaters of regional conflict raging for more than 16 months. The IDF is spread out in defense, including aerial defense arrays, and prepared for any scenario. All right. The remarks came shortly after Yemen's Ansar Allah, also known as the Houthi movement, announced on Tuesday the first ballistic missile attack against Israel since Israel and the Palestinian Hamas movement reached a ceasefire deal in January. The group has accused Israel last week of violating the truce by cutting off humanitarian assistance to Gaza, where Israel then conducted a series of large-scale strikes late Monday despite the cessation of hostilities, right? So the Lord wants war. Okay, that's the point, man. And who's backing the small hats? Well, it's America. Okay, and you have Europe, divided as prophesied in Daniel the 2nd chapter. You know what I'm saying? That the toes, in the vision of the statue, you know what I'm saying, down to the toes, which represents the latter end of the Roman Empire, which we're currently living in. All right. The revived Western Roman Empire, right? That it would be partly strong and partly broken. All right. So what you see happening is biblical prophecy, man. See, even amongst NATO and the EU, they don't agree. Okay. America pretty much has an evil eye, you know what I'm saying, towards these other nations, man. And hey, vice versa. You see what I'm saying? Trump is talking about seceding for NATO, that's going to be the best thing to do. And NATO was also talking about separating from America. You know what I'm saying? That's biblical prophecy, Revelation 17-16, man. All right. So we have a lot going on. You see, this is why it's important to always stay up to date and watch what's going on in these world events, man, because these things are crucial to understand where we at in the biblical timeline, you know. Let's see what else I got right here. Okay, yeah. So when you go to let's go to Ezekiel 38, okay? Because we, what I'm saying, there's also tensions with Russia and Trump trying to get a ceasefire, deal with Russia and stuff like that. But that's going against their own allies, man, because Europe, they want to continue that Ukraine front. All right, which America, they're ready to pull out of that and focus on Israel because that Ukraine war is a lost cause. All right, but the reason why they fighting so hard in Ukraine is because, Ukraine is a very strategic land. Of course, a lot of resources there, but also there's a lot of dirt in Ukraine. Okay, there's a lot of neo-Nazi activity going on inside Ukraine, man. All right, they're creating diseases, you know what I'm saying? They have top secret labs over there, and they're fighting so hard to take that land because number one, they want to have access to strike Russia in their backyard, Slovakia, and also they don't want all the dirt and hidden things of America and Europe to come out to the forefront, man. So you know what I'm saying? Because once Russia takes control of Kyiv, that's when, everything's going to be revealed, man. So they're fighting as hard as they can right now to keep that war from being lost to Russia, but it's already too late. It's already over. Prophecy about Gog and future invasion of Israel. You see that? And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, which is Russia. Okay, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, referring to Turkey. All right, and say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. So the Lord is against, the Lord is against Russia, man. Okay, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Now, pay attention right here. This is very important. Ezekiel 38:5. Persia, okay, which is modern day Iran, Ethiopia, and Libya. Are all these nations not aligned together? All you gotta do is Google this, man. Okay, but this is biblical prophecy being fulfilled. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. So all these nations are gathered together with Gog and Magog, Meshech and Tubal, to be gathered together for war against the small hats. Okay, because the Lord is going to use these nations. Okay, forget what book that is. But it speaks about the Carmanians going forth, raging in wrath. Okay, the Carmanians are referring to modern day Iran. Okay, so the Carmanians are going to go forth with all their bands and come against the small hat. This is why you see such a strong military posture right now against Iran. So this is why you see that America, they want to go to war and justify war with Iran. All right, because the Lord put it on their spirit. It tells you in Daniel that the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. So the Lord is the one that put it on these kings, these leaders' spirit to do what they're doing. They don't have a say, so there is no free will. Because if it was up to them, they would stop the wars. Because right now, these wars are leading to nothing but nuclear destruction. And Trump even said that himself. So these leaders understand this, but for some reason, they can't come to an agreement. For some reason, they can't sit down at the round table, have a civil discussion, and come to a solution to where these wars can be stopped. Why? Because it's biblical prophecy, man. The Lord's will must be done. So what it says here, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Right, verse 6, Gomer, Turkey, and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Okay, so Turkey is a prominent player in last days prophecy. Well, check it out. Turkey is currently a member of the NATO alliance, but they've also expressed interest in leaving NATO and aligning themselves with who? With Gog and Magog, Russia. Okay, biblical prophecy. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So Gog, okay, Russia and Turkey, they're going to be a guard unto who? Iran, Ethiopia, Libya, South Africa, all the BRICS nations, and all the smaller nations that are gathered to them. They're a guard unto these nations, man. This is why you see that even Russia now, they're putting warnings out to America that, look, you better not mess with Iran. Okay, Iran is off limits. Why? Because Russia is a guard unto these nations. All right, be thou a guard unto them. Right, verse 8. And after many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. You see that? So the Lord is bringing Gog and Magog and all their bands against the small hats, okay, against the mountains of Israel, man. All right, verse 10. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought, and thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages, which is referring to America. Okay, this is the land of unwalled villages. And I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates. You see? So these people here in America definitely dwell carelessly, man. Because America is so far removed from all of what's going on in so-called Europe and the so-called Middle East and Asia. America is so far removed from all of that. They never think that war is gonna come to their front doorstep, man. Okay, this is why this place is called what? The Virgin Daughter of Babylon, because this place has never been penetrated by a true war before. Okay, this place has never really been invaded on a large scale like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, the only time I think that's happened is during the War of 1812 when Britain came to invade, but that was only on the East Coast. See, the times we in now, it's about to be a total invasion of America from within, because you already have sleeper cells in all these cities, man. This is why on the first of the year you had all these Black Swan events taking place, people running in the crowd with their cars, and then stuff blowing up all over the place, man. This is sleeper cell activity going on. You have foreign agents in America from these different nations that are operating within. Okay, so this land of unwalled villages where the people dwell without care, dwelling without walls. Okay, because even these major cities, right, unless you live in a gated community, which is very rare, like most people don't live in a gated community, then you're just living out in the open. Even to get into these cities, like, there's no wall to get into a city, man. Like, all you gotta do is pass through a toll, or you know what I'm saying, if you want to go into the border, you gotta pass through border patrol, but that's about it. I mean, there's no real walls to guard against anything like it was in the ancient world. So this is why Trump, when he first came in office a couple years ago, he was talking about what? Building a wall to on the border of Mexico and America. Okay, but there's no wall right there right now, and the wall still hasn't been built. Why? Because it's biblical prophecy that the land of unwalled villages, which is America, this place is going to be penetrated, man. Okay, the Virgin Daughter of Babylon cherry is about to be popped by war. Okay, this place is about to see its first large-scale invasion that it has ever seen, and it's going to be very profound. Verse 12, to take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations which have gotten cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land. Okay, now when you go to Jeremiah 49, okay, Jeremiah 49, Jeremiah 49 and 7, prophecy against Edom. Okay, so the Lord got something for Esau's ass, man. Okay, well, this is the end of his world, pursuant to 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. Okay, Jeremiah 49 and 7, concerning Edom, thus saith the Lord of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? Yeah, because even right now, like, you look at the policies and the moves that these Edomites are putting in place, it makes no sense. Okay, the scriptures say that a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. Okay, prudence goes into having a wisdom, being able to see things afar off and make the wise course of action. Okay, Esau, he don't have that, man, which at one time he did have that, because when you consider having rulership, you have to have a certain level of wisdom to be able to rule proficiently. All right, so when Esau's kingdom was at its height, that's when the Lord endowed this man with wisdom to keep his kingdom intact. Now that we at the end of his reign, now his whole shit starting to fall apart. Okay, now there's mass infighting between these Edomites. You know what I'm saying? Now there's wars all over the place. Like, there's mass confusion, man. So this government of Esau is not well ordered. He's not a prudent or wise man. Okay, wisdom is vanished from Teman, from Edom. Okay, let's go down. Verse 13, for I have sworn by myself, saith the Lord, that Bozrah, which is the capital city of Edom, okay, which today would be America, Babylon the Great, shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual waste. I have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador sent unto the heathen, saying, gather ye together and come against her, and rise up to battle. For lo, I will make thee small among the heathen and despised among men. Thy terribleness hath deceived thee in the pride of thine heart. O that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. And that directly echoes Obadiah. Okay, when you read the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. This is talking about Edomites, okay, the so-called white man, mainly the ruling class of Esau. Okay, O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, that holdest the height of the hill, though thou shouldest make thy nest as high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence. And it says the same thing in Obadiah when you read it. Saith the Lord, also Edom shall be a desolation, every one that goeth by shall be astonished, and shall hiss at all the plagues thereof. Okay, so judgment is coming to Esau, Edom, man. All right, let's go down. Jeremiah 49. I think I passed it. Concerning Kedar. Yep, Salakia. Jeremiah 49:20. Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock, being Israel, the small hats, shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. The earth is moved at the noise of their fall. At the cry, the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. Behold, he shall come up and fly as the eagle, and spread his wings over Bozrah. And at that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of woman in her pains. Okay, so the small hats, they're drawing out Russia, they're drawing out Turkey, they're drawing out Iran and Ethiopia, all these nations, man, because they're the ones that are pretty much responsible for the earth not being at peace. It's these small hats, and everybody has now realized this, and they're gonna come against the small hats. Okay, and that AI generated video that Trump put out about a month ago, you know what I'm saying, of Trump Gaza, how they pretty much bombed the place to smithereens and now, you know, they gonna come in and they gonna make it a paradise, right? The whole world is seeing that, and they see that and they see all the war crimes that are being perpetuated against those Palestinians. Okay, and guess what? The nations that are round about Israel, they have a thought in their mind like, yo, look, if we don't stop these small hats, next thing they're going to do is they're going to come for us, okay? Because they already know that they have the backing of America, which is supposed to be the mightiest military on the face of the earth, right? So they're like, shit, if these small hats, you know, take Lebanon, if they take Syria, you know, they're pretty much already done with Gaza. Turkey already said that, look, the next thing they're going to do is come for us. Okay, this is why they're about to leave NATO and join themselves with the BRICS, man. They're about to align themselves via biblical prophecy to Russia. And they're going to come against the small hats. Okay, so it's all going down, man. See, when you understand prophecy, all these things start to come together when you look on the world stage. All right. So going here, just a few things in the news. Starting March 28th, everything you say to your Echo will be sent to Amazon. And they've been doing this shit, man. All right, they've already been doing this, but now they about to make it officially like a in-house law. Okay, that if you speak into your Echo, then your voice going to be recorded. And this all goes into the fourth industrial revolution, them having a complete surveillance, complete control over you. Okay, which I remember a few years back, people was already saying this, that their Echo was recording their conversations, and people are still dumb enough to have this shit inside their house. Okay, you know, like if you buy this Amazon Echo, you basically got a government snitch inside your house, man, that you're paying for. These stupid ass Americans, man. All right, so they, you know, we live in a time where people are talking about all kind of things. You know what I'm saying? So anything that you say, don't be surprised if you have a knock on your door and you know what I'm saying, Esau come in and rope your ass up and take you in for questioning. All right, that's the times that we in. So you got to watch, you know, for these things. Watch out for these devils and their you know, wicked, unrighteous laws and decrees.
Just signed an executive order that says only the president and the attorney general can speak for what is law. All right, let's brace for impact.
Lastly, we have another executive order that President Trump signed relating to independent agencies. This executive order would establish important oversight functions in the Office of Management and Budget and its subsidiary office, OIRA, supervising independent agencies and many of their actions, and also reestablishes the longstanding norm that only the President or the Attorney General can speak for the United States when stating an opinion as to what the law is.
Thank you very much, Will. That was the primary purpose of this conference.
Wait a minute. Let me catch that again. So he signed an executive order declaring that only the Attorney General or the President, instead of federal regulators or bureaucrats, can speak for the United States when interpreting the meaning of laws carried out by the executive branch. Will Scharf, the White House staff secretary and one of the president's attorneys, said the order that limits only the president and the attorney general to interpret laws, quote, reestablishes a long-standing norm. I wonder what his supporters think of him making himself into a dictator.
And you know, isn't that exactly what he said that he would do? You know, Trump said that he was going to make himself, pretty much, into a dictator in so many words, man. All right, so now these devils, let's get that scripture, man. All right, change times and laws. These devils, that's in Daniel. These devils are looking to change times and laws, man. So they're, speaking, great things, against the people and against Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Daniel 7:25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it unto the end. All right. And when you go up, all right, it speaks about that little horn. All right. Daniel 7:7. And after this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible. Now this fourth beast is referring to the revival of the Western Roman Empire. Okay. And strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth, right, which goes into their military might. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. Okay, those 10 horns were the vassals of the ancient Roman Empire, okay, which now would make up the EU and NATO, which with America coming out of the 10 horns, okay, mainly Britain, all right, which is the head of the beast system, being the whore, right? Daniel 7:8. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. This little horn is referring to America, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. Now these 3 horns that were plucked up by the roots, because keep in mind that, like I said, America came out of England, came out of the British. Okay, so in order for America to be established as a great nation that it is now, they had to overcome who? These 3 horns go into the French, the British, and the Spanish. Okay, which the French, the British, and the Spanish, they had vast possessions in America. Okay, Spain, like they had areas of California, Oregon, down to the Mexican border, Florida, okay, France. They pretty much had the whole of the Midwest to the borderline of the eastern United States, where the 13 colonies was at, which the 13 colonies were ruled over by Britain. Okay, now we know that at the time of the Revolutionary War, America overcame Britain. Okay, and they were established as the 13 colonies as the first American states. Okay, then at a certain point during the Napoleonic Wars, okay, France, they had that Midwestern region, which they sold to America because they didn't want England to have it, because they pretty much already had majority of America anyway. Like, remember that Britain, they controlled Canada, which is a vast land by itself, and they controlled America as well. So when the War of 1812 came around, Napoleon sold the French territory in the Midwestern United States to America as the Louisiana Purchase. Okay, so that's how America, and there were also the French Indian Wars and the French American Wars and things like that, to where they were warring, but eventually they had to gain that land by their purchase. And the same thing with Spain. Spain ended up, selling California and those western states to America. So that's how America became formulated. Okay, you had the Spanish American Wars and the Spanish Indian Wars. You had all these things going on when you go into the history of it. But the synopsis is the Little Horn, which is America. They overcame the French, the British, and the Spanish to establish the United States of America. Okay. Three of the first horns plucked up by the roots, and behold, in his horn were like the eyes of man, and the mouth speaking great things. This is why, check it out. You have Trump talking about, now we will interpret what the law is. Okay, only the president and the attorney general can speak for what the law is. And again, you don't see this being blasted on the mainstream media, man. Okay, these things are being, swept under the rug. These things are being done quietly. Okay, but next thing you look up, they're going to be putting new laws and say you can't do this, and that. Go like, damn, like, does he have that type of power? Even when you look at the Doge is pretty much, the Doge is unconstitutional. Okay, that's why you had today with the dismantling of USAID, the federal Supreme Court pretty much ruled that that's unconstitutional. But see, what these devils are about to do, they about to do away with the Constitution, because that's in the way of what they really want to implement, which they said this on multiple occasions. Okay. So these are the times that we're in, some very dangerous times. All right. Esau, pursuant to Revelation 12:12, is coming down with that great wrath. And the Lord is putting a spirit on this devil to be that cruel Lord over America. All right. Proposed Trump policy could force thousands of citizens applying for Social Security benefits to verify their identities in person. Now, what is this all about? Okay, this is all about the Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, right? Oh, we have all this money going to this program, this, and that, and we don't know who is receiving what and all of this. So now they're going to say, well, we need to verify that you are who you say you are in order to continue to receive these benefits. Now, this is a precedent for these devils to really come in with the MOTB. This is where it's all leading to, okay? This is the groundwork for the MOTB, man. Okay, the MOTB is right around the corner, because now they're telling you that you have to verify, you got to give documentation, you have to have a real ID to do this, and that in order to receive your benefits. Very soon, when they crash the grid and all of this, they're going to bring it forth and say, hey, well, if you want rations, if you want to have shelter, if you want to have anything, you're going to have to be, take surveillance under your skin, which is going to come in the form of the microchip, of the charagma. Okay, so we don't got to get into the article, but just know that this is where this is going. Okay, proof of you are who you say you are in order to receive beast benefits, man. All right. Withdrawing $200 from an ATM could put you in scope of federal financial surveillance. All right. So we know a while ago, about 2-3 years ago, they have put out a policy that now if you have over $500 in your bank account, that they're monitoring your spending purchases, okay, in that account. Okay, so if you got over 500 in your account, just know that the government is watching you, man. Okay. But now withdrawing 200 from an ATM is going to put you under government surveillance. So what is this all about? Because they're about to do away with cash. They're about to do away with this current financial system. So they're to the point now where they're about to even limit how much money that you can take out the ATM. Okay. So you're pretty much about to be a threat to the government now. Pretty much what they're saying in so many words, if you're withdrawing a certain amount of money. All right. We can get a little bit of this. In recent weeks, a controversial new rule from the U.S. Department of the Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement has sparked widespread debate. This regulation, aimed at curbing money laundering and illicit activities tied to Mexico-based cartels, lowers the threshold for reporting cash transactions from 10,000 to just 200 in certain border regions of California and Texas. Critics argue that this dramatic reduction infringes on personal privacy and subjects millions of law-abiding Americans to unwarranted federal surveillance for routine financial activities, such as withdrawing 200 from an ATM. So this is where we at, okay? Yeah, we're here. And I think it's the same thing in Australia, the same thing in UK as well. So this is the global rollout of a new system, you know what I'm saying, as we've been telling you. All right, we can close out on this right here. Millions across 11 states told to stay at home and avoid windows. So as the scriptures say in 2 Timothy, what is that, the second chapter? Let's get that. Second Timothy. Yep, 2 Timothy chapter 3. Difficult times will come. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. Okay, so perilous goes into danger, right? So these are some very dangerous times. Now, what you have going on, you know, we can get it. It says here, meteorologists are urging millions of residents across 11 states to remain indoors and avoid windows as powerful windstorms, dust advisories, and wildfire risk sweep across large portions of the central and western United States. And this is also contributing to the famine, to the food production as well, being dwindled. It says the NWS has issued high wind warnings and blowing dust advisories from Texas to California, with gusts expected to reach as high as 90 miles per hour in some areas. These extreme conditions have prompted widespread safety warnings as the potential for downed power lines, flying debris, and hazardous driving conditions continue to grow. Officials have also warned that the combination of strong winds and dry conditions could escalate wildfire risk, with red flag warnings in effect from South Dakota to Texas. The extreme weather follows a weekend of severe storms that left more than 40 dead across multiple states. So this nation is clearly under judgment, man. Okay, no doubt about it. You know, now they're saying it's toxic smoke that's outside and debris that people are breathing in, microparticles that are in the air. You know what I'm saying? Like these devils are out here spraying chemtrails, they're poisoning the food. So this is the land of the shadow of death, America. Okay, just living in this toxic environment, man. See, this American experience is set up to destroy you. It's set up to delete you, send you back to the spirit world, man. And we know last year these devils were boasting in the fact that pretty much mass depopulation of the earth is going to occur this year. So this year is just getting started, man. But we ain't seen nothing yet. See, these devils got a lot more up their sleeve. And we just got to keep watching and stay vigilant and continue to pray to Yahweh Bashmel Shah that we be counted worthy to escape the trying times coming upon this earth. All right, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and, close out right here. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying through the Rakah Kadash. In closing, call Allah Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bahasham Rakah Kadash. And until next time, Lord willing, shalom to the elect. Kum Yasha Allah, wa Abba Baba. On to the next one. Shalom.